Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. This year's 24 Hours of Le Mans is the 90th running of the famous endurance race. The first race was 99 years ago, in 1923. You'd expect there to be a long list of different manufacturers winning this prestigious race, one of the greatest prizes in motorsport, simply so they can add it to their brochures to sell you a brand new car with crippling finance. Well, in 89 previous Le Mans races, there have only been winners from 25 different manufacturers, and today we are going to look at all of them, from the least wins to the most, with oldest first if they are tied. We're going to look at their victories, some of the drivers, and if it's likely they'll ever be back on the top step of the podium ever again. So make sure you subscribe for more, and let's begin. One win, Chenard and Walker. The first manufacturer on this list was also the very first manufacturer to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, all the way back in 1923. This French manufacturer took the flag and the inaugural crown and a 1-2 result. Sadly, neither Monsieur Chenard or Walker were alive to see it. Chenard himself died a year before in 1922, and the company itself perished in 1946 after the end of the Second World War. One win, Lagonda. The brand, mostly associated with Aston Martin, was an entity all to itself, and it took Le Mans honours in 1935. 10 years after this, they would be absorbed into Aston Martin, so highly unlikely we'll ever see a Lagonda win ever again. One win, Delahaye. 3 years later, a Delahaye would take the win at Le Mans. This small French manufacturer would manage to pull off a 1-2-4 finish as well. However, they would suffer in post-war years and would also disappear in 1954. One win, Talbot Lago. The father-son team of Louis Rosier and Jean-Louis Rosier took the Talbot brand to their only Le Mans victory in 1950. They were a strong brand, racing in Formula 1 in its inaugural season at the same time. Louis Rosier even got on the podium twice in Switzerland and Belgium. Talbot couldn't build on the success Louis Rosier gave them, and they perished in 1959. One win, Mercedes-Benz. It's almost unbelievable that Mercedes have only ever won Le Mans once, all the way back in 1952. In fact, Mercedes-powered cars have only won Le Mans twice in its 90 races. For a team that is as dominant as Mercedes, it's just absolutely crazy. Part of the reason is their part in the 1955 Le Mans disaster, and their withdrawal from that race and long wait for their return. But here we are, 70 years ago, and Mercedes took the win with Hermann Lang and Fritz Weiss in a W194. I imagine at some point in the future we will see Mercedes in the WEC again one day, but it won't be 2022 and probably not for another 5 years at least. So Mercedes' 70-year wait will continue on. One win, Aston Martin. Again, I thought Aston Martin had a strong history in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, but an Aston Martin has only won it once, a 1-2 in 1959, with Carroll Shelby sharing the drive with Roy Salvadori. The DBR1 is one of the best looking cars ever, and Aston Martin never won again. However, with rumours the Valkyrie project has been revived, maybe Aston Martin can get back on the Le Mans stage again very soon. One win, Mirage. A race car from Slough doesn't sound very exciting. In fact, nothing from Slough sounds exciting. But the Mirage was exciting, and it won Le Mans in the famous golf racing colours, with legends Jackie Ickx and Derek Bell behind the wheel. This small team had a lot of success winning at the Nürburgring and Spa, but their biggest result was the Le Mans win in 1975, with the sister car also in third. They carried on until 1982, after being disqualified for political reasons from that year's Le Mans, and they didn't survive much longer. One win, Alpine Renault. Much like Mercedes, you'd presume Renault would have won more often at Le Mans, but the French manufacturer has not been a regular competitor in the famous 24-hour race, and in fact have only won it once. The A442B of Didier Pironi and Jean-Pierre Jossard won in 1978, beating the mighty Porsche by a massive 5 laps. The Alpine name is still going strong in 2022 and is definitely in with a chance to add to this single victory 44 years ago. One win, Rondeau. It wasn't unusual for smaller manufacturers to take wins in the golden days of motorsport, but for Rondeau to do it in 1980 is an incredible achievement. It is a story of strange sponsors like wallpaper companies and elevator maintenance firms, class success at Le Mans, as well as pushing Porsche for overall manufacturers' championships in the equivalent of the World Endurance Championship of the time. Impressive for a small independent constructor. Owner and creator Jean Rondeau himself won at Le Mans in Dakar in 1980, but as technology and costs continue to rise, but could no longer continue. Rondeau as a team disbanded in 1983, and Jean Rondeau sadly died in an accident with a train in 1985. One win, Sauber. The second Mercedes-powered car to win Le Mans. Sauber were the official Mercedes team in the late 80s and early 90s and won Le Mans in 1989. They also gave drives to very young versions of Michael Schumacher and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. They, along with Mercedes, would move to Formula 1 in 1993, before becoming an independent team, joining with BMW, becoming independent again, and are currently still in Formula 1 as Alfa Romeo. One win, Mazda. When you think of Mazda, you don't think motorsport success. In fact, Mazda in motorsport for me is the old rally cars from the early 90s and Patrick Watts in the British touring cars. But they did win Le Mans. Somehow. In 1991, 3 Formula 1 drivers, even if Volker Wieler didn't start a race, joined by Johnny Herbert and Bertrand Gachot, they beat a fleet of silk-cut Jaguars behind them and took Mazda's only Le Mans win. Mazda would only spend 3 years in sports car racing, and it's hard to say if they will ever return. That's why when you think Mazda, you think of old ladies driving really slowly in front of you. One win, McLaren. The McLaren F1 was not in the top class of the Sports Car Championship, but still managed to win in 1995. It wasn't even a McLaren-entered car. Instead, Kokusai Kaihatsu Racing won in the wettest Le Mans race ever. It was a race of so many mechanical issues for various teams, and it had an exciting climax with the courage of Bob Wallach, Eric Hellery and Mario Andretti chasing down the McLaren of JJ Lehto, Yannick Dalmas and Masanori Takaya. But in the end, the McLaren would take their only Le Mans win, but given they seem to be entering everything these days, a McLaren hypercar is not out of the question. One win, BMW. Our old friend Yannick Dalmas took his 4th and final Le Mans win in his BMW alongside longtime BMW driver Joachim Winkelhock and Italian ace Pierluigi Martini. BMW are another team who have never spent much time in sports car racing, except in the lower GT levels, but the V12 LMR developed alongside Williams won in 1999. BMW are producing a hypercar for future Le Mans attempts, so they may add to this single victory in the future. 2 wins, Lorraine Dietrich. The first team ever to win Le Mans twice in a row, and the first to take 2 wins at the famous race. Lorraine Dietrich are a little known French brand who won the 3rd and 4th runnings of the 24 Hours of Le Mans back in 1925 and 1926. They stopped making cars in the 1930s and were gone at some point after. 2 wins, Bugatti. Bugatti, makers of the Veyron, won Le Mans with a tank, the Type 57 tank to be precise, which won in 1937 and 1939, the latter of which would be the last Le Mans race for 10 years because of the Second World War. Pierre Veyron would take the 1939 win, and his name has made a comeback with the Bugatti Veyron. I'd love to see a Bugatti hypercar, but so far it hasn't happened, and Volkswagen seem keen on entering other brands into various race series. 3 wins, Matra Simcar. The French team had success in both Formula 1 and at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. They dominated the Le Mans scene between 1972 and 1974, taking 3 wins, as well as 3 other podiums. Henry Pescarolo won all 3 times, joined by Gerard Larousse for 2 and Graham Hill for 1. The 1974 was their last great success, and they would be sold to Peugeot in 1979. 3 wins, Peugeot. You'd expect the ancient French brand, Peugeot, to have won more often at Le Mans, especially in the early days, but they didn't take their first win until 1992. In 1993 they took all 3 steps on the podium. They decided to give up on sports car racing and focus on Formula 1, which went really well, sarcastic cough. And they'd return in 2007 and would take a 3rd win in 2009, but were gone again by 2011. But they are back and will look to be major contenders in 2023. 4 wins, Alfa Romeo. One of the most beautiful cars ever, the Alfa Romeo 8C won Le Mans 4 times in a row, although not entered by Alfa Romeo themselves. It dominated the sport between 1931 and 1934, taking a clean sweep of the podium in 1933. They would make fresh attempts in the 50s and 70s, but never took the top step ever again. They almost came back in the 90s with the SE048SP, but this never took to the track, and their wait for a Le Mans win is 88 years and counting. 4 wins, Ford. I'm not going into this one too much, everyone knows the story of the GT40. Ford's attempt to wind up Enzo Ferrari after he snubbed Ford from buying Ferrari. Ford decided they were going to end Ferrari's Le Mans winning streak, and so they did with the GT40. It is a legendary car, but Ford have never again won Le Mans. 4 wins, Toyota. Likewise, do I need to say all that much about Toyota? They'd been around in the past but didn't find success until 2018 and have won every year since. In 2022 they will probably make it 5 in a row. 6 wins Bentley. 5 of Bentley's wins came in the first 8 Le Mans 24 Hours races. 1924, 1927, 1928, 1929 and 1930. In 1929 they filled the first 4 positions and their record of 5 wins wasn't beaten until Ferrari took their 6th win in 1962. That's not the end of the Bentley story. In modern times, as part of the Volkswagen Group, Bentley made a return in 2001 and after a couple of years of trying, took the victory at Le Mans for the 6th time in 2003 and subsequently closed down their sports car program. Makes sense. They may return one day. I think the Bentley name is so strongly linked with Le Mans, it would be a shame to never see them at the famous race ever again. 7 wins Jaguar. The dominant force of the 1950s with their iconic C-Type and D-Type cars, after wins in 1951, 53, 55, 56 and 57, the last of which was a top 4 finish for the brand, they disappeared from the top of sports car racing for a good 30 years, before returning with the even more iconic silk-cut Jaguars of the late 80s and early 90s. 2 more victories came in 1988 and 1990. The cars were developed by Tom Walkinshaw Racing, who themselves had considerable success at Le Mans, but Jaguar were left behind in favour of Porsche by 1995 and eventually Nissan. Jaguar have not returned in the last 30 years, and even if they did, they couldn't be sponsored by tobacco brand Silk-Cut. 9 wins Ferrari. Ford may have got the better of Ferrari with the GT40, but Ferrari have the last laugh because as a brand, they've won more Le Mans than the Americans with 9 in total. All of their wins came between 1949 and 1965. 9 wins in 16 years. That's insane, especially at a time when cars were far less reliable. This includes some of the most beautiful cars of all time. The 166mm in 1949, the 375 Plus in 1954, 250 TR in 1958, and then a string of 6 victories in a row between 1960 and 1965, before Ford spoiled the party. Ferrari never returned after 1971. 51 years later and we are waiting for the new Ferrari hypercar with bated breath. 13 wins Audi. The success of Audi all came at the turn of the millennium. Even the Bentley win could be attributed to Audi. Between 2000 and 2014, Audi only lost 2 24 hours of Le Mans races. Their 13 wins came in a 15-year period. They were the dominant force for a decade and a half. They gave Tom Christensen his record-breaking 9 Le Mans wins. They were set to make a return, but that seems to have been put on ice for now. Volkswagen clearly are more keen to enter other brands in the series. 19 wins Porsche. The leading granddaddy of the 24 hours of Le Mans is Porsche, with a long history of success, and they may be making a return in 2023, so there could be even more success to come from the German brand. They have won with a multitude of different teams, a whole host of famous drivers, and a lot of different cars with different rule sets. The Porsche 917 came first with wins in 1970 and 1971. There were wins for the 936 in 1976 and 1977, before a 935 won in 1978. There would be another win for the 936 in 1981, before the 956 took 4 in a row. Its replacement, the 962, won in 86 and 87. Dauer would win with a 962 in 1994, before the TWR Jost Racing Porsche won in 1996 and 1997, with a 911 GT1 winning in 1998. They'd have to wait until 2015 to win again, followed by 2 more wins. It's an incredible record, especially with 7 wins in a row between 1981 and 1987. 29 drivers have won in a Porsche at Le Mans, including Derek Bell, one of the all-time best, taking 4. Porsche's record at Le Mans is incredible and in a league of its own, and as mentioned, they could be adding to it very soon. So that is every manufacturer who has won at Le Mans. Any you think should have won more? Any that surprised you? Is there any in particular you'd like to see back at Le Mans? Let me know in the comments below, leave a like and a share. Remember to subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a good one.